Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right, Matt Steinmetz, Darryl the Guru Johnson with you, and let's head out to the Boxer and Gerson guest line right away. We're joined by Ed McCaffrey. Played 13 seasons as an NFL wide receiver, won 3 Super Bowls, including Super Bowl 29 as a member of the Niners. You can hear him hosting the opening drive weekday mornings on the SiriusXM NFL radio channel. But Guru, he also... This guy won 2 high school basketball state championships in the mid-'80s.
He got game.
For Allentown Central Catholic. And just so happened played in one of the greatest high school gymnasiums on the East Coast, I would say, Rockney Hall. Wow. What's up, Ed? How you doing?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania, so I'm a little older than you, but I know I knew those Allentown Central Catholic teams, and I still can't believe Whitehall didn't get you with Scott Koval.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we had some battles, man. We played, I think we played 3 times against each other in my senior year. But they were the big public school in town, and we were the, Catholic school, private school. But you know a little bit about Rockney Hall, man? Those metal bleachers? We used to make some noise back in the day.
Yeah, it was the first game I ever had in double figures for Holy Name High School out of Reading. I had 10 as a sophomore. We got beat by 18, though. They had a great program, Allentown Central. All right, we'll get to more pertinent stuff for most people. Ed, first of all, I appreciate you joining us. Kyle Shanahan, obviously you've got a great relationship with him. My partner and I go back and forth. You know, he's 44 years old, and he's been there. He's been knocking on the door. Do you think he's got a monkey on his back? Do you think he's got to vindicate his big game, struggles in the past? Where are you with Kyle, even though he's just 44 years old and maybe just starting his coaching career?
Yeah, I think he's one hell of a coach. This kid, I mean, he's an adult now, but when he was a kid, he was the ball boy with the 49ers. If you remember back in 1994, I remember him helping Jerry Rice, standing in front of him while Jerry practiced releases and catching the ball from Steve Young. And he was a kid at an early age that grew up with a future Hall of Fame coach in Mike Shanahan and a football family. He played the game. He loved playing the game. He was a receiver, and watched him play at Cherry Creek High School and then at Duke and then at Texas. And he, had a quick tryout with the NFL and then decided he wanted to go into coaching. But I think he was born to coach, and he's been incredibly successful. Look at the success he's had. And when you look at a coach like Andy Reid, how long did it take Andy Reid? 13, 14 years before he went to Kansas City, and then you go and you win a Super Bowl, but it took him a really long time. And it's because coaches alone, right? Coaches alone can't win a game. I mean, it takes players making plays. So you're not going to find a better coach than Kyle Shanahan. In my opinion, it's a matter of time. I'm hoping not too much time.
Yeah, no doubt, Ed. Hey, we got some sound we want you to hear. Take a listen to this, Ed.
First of all, his dad was my hero. I cut my shoes like him. I wore my shoulder pads like him. I had Tourette's like him after he caught everything in Farmer Blowed every time he cut a pass and shook his head. So, I've always loved Ed, and I just knew he had a bunch of crazy boys.
And when you hear that, come on, share what goes through your mind. You got to feel good.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of love for Kyle Shanahan. Like I said, I remember the thing I remember him when he was really young is his smile when he was a kid, and I'm like, who's this kid? I kind of knew he was Mike Shanahan's son, but it was my first year with the Niners, and I was just how happy he was to be on a football field. So go and catching passes from Steve Young. How cool must that have been, right? You're a young kid and you're catching passes from Steve Young at practice, and you're helping Jerry Rice with his receiver drills. And I just remember looking at him and thinking he looks so happy, and they would keep him there for an hour after practice, just working with players and doing whatever he had to do, and he couldn't get enough of it. So that's what I remember of him, and I'm glad I didn't know he was looking up to me at the time, because he probably picked up a lot of bad habits. But but no, it is pretty cool. And for things to come full circle like this, you guys know, right? This is a business. Nobody does anybody any favors. Nobody does anything because they like you, or your families know each other. And that's one of the tough things about this business. I mean, Mike Shanahan is an incredible friend of mine to this day. We weren't as close when I played as we are now, but he had me take a pay cut. You know what I mean? I love you, but this is what we have you valued at. So, I mean, in this business, whether you're coaching or playing, it's a business, and you're doing it to win football games because everyone's careers depend on it. But I got to admit, it's pretty cool that it's worked out the way it's worked out. And I know these guys got one more game to go, but this last year and a half has been a blessing.
Ed McCaffrey joining us on 95.7 The Game, father of 49er running back Christian McCaffrey.
Ed, I got to ask you this. I want to get to the game, but life is truly amazing. Your son has all the talent in the world. You've won multiple Super Bowls. He's in Carolina. They're not doing too well collectively. Then he gets traded. Now he's on the Niners about, to get his opportunity to win a ring. Can you just speak to what that trade to San Francisco has meant, not just for your son, but your family?
Yeah, well, I can't help it, man. I played a long time in coach. I'm dialed in too. Like I'm looking at this next. I can barely even talk, right? I'm just like, hey, we got one game to go. Let's talk after the season. But as a father, it's just a blessing because I know how much Christian loves football and how much he wants to be part of something bigger than himself and how much he wants to win as a team. And that's what's so fun about it. You make all these sacrifices with your teammates to go out there and compete, and you put just as much time into it, whether you win or lose, right? I mean, so winning's a whole lot more fun. And he had a lot of experience winning in Little League and high school and a Pac-12 championship. And then they just went through so many different changes in Carolina, right? New ownership, new head coaches, new general managers, new quarterback every year that he played there. And when you go through all that change, it's hard to maintain a level of consistency. But he loved his teammates. He's such a loyal person in general to people, to family, to friends, and to his teammates. And so he was very loyal to Carolina, and it was a little bit of a shocker to him that he got traded. But Lisa and I, having known the Shanahans and knowing Anthony Lynn, who was a teammate of mine, who's his running back coach, and Bobby Turner and Brian Greasy and John Lynch and the Kubiak boys, like we knew what he was getting into. So we were super ecstatic that he was going to go join these guys in San Francisco with a veteran roster of guys that have been to Super Bowls and played at a high level because, it's the greatest team sport in the world. A player can't win any games. It takes a whole team to win games. And so we knew he was going to a great team that was extremely well coached, and we knew they'd know how to use him and fit him into this offense and onto this team. And he loves his teammates, and he's so darn loyal. So it's a blessing. I'm dialed in. I know there's one more to go, but regardless of what happens, this has been just an incredible experience for us.
Ed McCaffrey joining us on 95.7 The Game. He's the father of Christian McCaffrey. Let me ask you this, because we were talking about, so you go to high school in the mid-'80s and you play on a championship basketball team in Pennsylvania. Obviously, you played football. When did you first, and then you went to Stanford, when did you first think to yourself, I can play in the NFL? And then when did you first recognize that Christian could not only maybe play in the NFL, but could be really good?
You just want to talk basketball, don't you? So the answer is 29 points in our state championship in Hershey Park Arena.
Okay.
So Wilt Chamberlain and I combined.
Who'd you get, Aliquippa?
Yep, we played. How did you know that?
Because
man?
I know.
You pay attention.
I'm from Reading.
Do you know who I had to guard in the game?
B.B. Flannery.
Sean Gilbert. Does Sean Gilbert ring a bell?
Yes.
Sean Gilbert, first-round draft pick, played D-line in the league. And so back then we didn't have social media. I'm like, okay, we're playing Aliquippa. I don't know who we're playing. I don't know these dudes. I get up there and see Sean Gilbert. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I got to guard that dude. I got to guard that dude up and down the court. And he went on to become a phenomenal NFL player. But that's when I got introduced to Sean Gilbert. They had a heck of a football team as well. But anyway, we had some fun playing basketball and football. Pennsylvania was a great football state, still is. When I grew up, a lot of legendary players, Hall of Famers, and players that made the league. But how do you know? I didn't even know who all my teammates were at Stanford when I went out there. I'm like, you find out when you get there, and then you start sizing guys up. And then, I didn't know what the other really talented receivers around the country looked like.
Right.
Back then, there was like Parade Magazine would put out a report, and you'd see like listings of people in paper booklets about how the receivers were ranked. But there was like maybe one TV show a year that talked about them. But what do I know? So luckily, I played in the East-West Shrine Game in the Senior Bowl, and that's where I got to kind of size some guys up, and that's where I realized, you know what, I'm looking around, and I'm thinking I got a pretty good chance to play in this league. But even then, I got drafted by the Super Bowl champion New York Giants, and I'm going on to a team that just won the Super Bowl. And Bill Parcells made it abundantly clear. It's like, you know what, we just won the Super Bowl, so we don't need any of you guys. But some of you may make the team. We hope you do and can help us win another one. And so it wasn't like a red carpet welcome for me into the NFL. But luckily, I kept competing, working hard because there's a lot of talent in the NFL, right? And I was able to make a team and last long enough to become a pretty good player.
Oh, this is great stuff. Ed, we were just talking about the McCaffrey family in the suite, and we got word your daughter-in-law has a suite for you. Is that where you're watching the game at?
Yeah, well, we have, I'm not going to give away I don't need to be stand to in the stand. I'm not going to give away my seats, but,
Nobody knows a guy from Allentown. Nobody knows anybody from Allentown.
Well, Lisa and I, luckily, I've been around this league forever and have coached and played forever and know, a lot of the private equity guys out in the Bay and agents and coaches and everything else. So people have been so nice to us. We're always offered tickets to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
We never really go. The only Super Bowl we ever went to that I didn't play in was we go to the week before every year, but we don't actually go to the game. But we did go to the one in Pasadena when Michael Jackson performed at halftime because Lisa wanted to watch Michael Jackson perform at halftime. Dallas beat up on the Bills in that game. But we go out every year, but obviously we're going here to root for the 49ers and Christian. But we get offered tickets all the time. So we're taken care of. But this year we wanted to take care of our whole family. All of our boys are coming in. We hardly ever get all four boys together at the same time because they all play football and they're all, now working and Max is coaching with the Dolphins and Dylan has a job and they can't all get here till Saturday, but we're going to have everyone together, which is really cool. So even though we had tickets, you can't really ask someone for half their suite. So Christian was very generous and gave us all of the tickets for Olivia and our family to sit. And the 49ers did an incredible job of taking care of the families and giving them the opportunity to purchase tickets. But we also, we're picky. Like, I'm a former player and coach. Like, when I watch the game, I watch the game. I want to see everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So, we didn't really want to sit in the end zone. So Christian, last Tuesday, Olivia and Lisa jumped on the phone. I jumped on the phone. And he goes, look, I want you guys to have a great experience. Here's all my tickets. And, if you like these seats, great. If you don't, here's my credit card. You guys figure out what you want to do. I want you to have a great experience. But after tonight, I'm out of the ticket business. So you guys figure it out. So luckily, Olivia found us some really good seats. But I got to thank Christian for being so generous. I know when I was a player, that's what you do, right? You take care of your family. Hey, here's all the tickets. You figure it out. But you also learn as a player, you got to get out of the ticket business. Like after the second day, right? You're out of you play the game. We'll figure the rest out. So Olivia made a lot of calls and found us some pretty good seats where I think we're going to be able to watch the game and see every play without being stuck on one side of the field and keep our family together. So Olivia and Lisa and myself and all our boys will all be sitting together. And now, hey, Niners, just go give us something to cheer about.
No doubt. Ed, I was going to ask you about the quarterback situation, which is beautiful on both sides. You got a young up-and-comer in Purdy. Mahomes, we know how great he is. But, Ed, I got to tell you, I'm nervous, and people are calling the last 2 weeks, the last two playoff games, your son's defense has not looked like themselves. You being a former player, or how concerned are you? Or was this just a blip on the radar because they got to be better if they're going to knock off the Chiefs?
Yeah, look, it's a heavyweight fight. You don't go in a heavyweight fight thinking this is going to be a walk in the park. I mean, you're playing against the number 2 defense in the league. They haven't given up more than, they're averaging 14 points a game, but a couple of teams have put some points up to them. They got Patrick Mahomes, right? Everyone's heard of that guy, who can do some miraculous things, players like Kelsey. And so, there's just a ton of talent here. But you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Coach Wilkes bring in that second half defense versus Green Bay and bring in that second half defense versus Detroit. And let's put a game together. I think if they put a game together like that defensively, we'll be in pretty good shape.
Hey, Ed, before I let you go, and thank you so much for your time. You've been very generous. Christian's playing in his first Super Bowl. You played in 3. I don't know how often you talk, and I'm not. What advice would you give him if you talk to him?
Go do your thing. He's ready. He knows what to do.
He's got to rely on the routine, right? Just the routine of every Sunday he's ever played, right?
Yeah. One of the secrets I learned a long time ago from, again, future Hall of Fame coach Mike Shanahan, and that's how I'll refer to him until I refer to him as Hall of Fame coach Mike Shanahan, was that when, you play the way you practice. So if you prepare and practice the same way all the time, when you get to a big game like a Super Bowl, you don't do anything different. You do all the same things you've been doing that have got you here.
Ed, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, man. And good luck to you and your family. Have fun this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Go Niners.
All righty. That's Ed McCaffrey.